welcome to the Improv Summit. As always, I'm your host, Spencer, and with me today I have a very special guest. Now, I always say that, so I decided to change it up by taking the person's first name and putting an adjective that starts with that same letter of their first name and, put it together. So today I have with me none other than Terrific Tim. How's it going, Tim?
It's going good. It's going great, Spencer. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. That's my segues into these now is just like, and I never think about the word ahead of time. So when I'm like today's guest is, and then I like low key like improvising that on the fly because this is about improv, everyone. But
well, I'll tell you what, terrific works for me. I like it.
Great. I also learned that terrific apparently it started out as like a negative connotation and then it changed because it's like terror. Is like it came from like, I don't know, this is not Improv Summit Etymology Edition. Let's dive in and talk about you, Tim, and your improv experience because everyone knows I will talk forever if I don't have anything to talk about. So just tell me a little bit about you and your background in improv, your improv experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started improv it's in like 2013, I believe. I had just moved out here and some friends recommended Second City. And I started with I think it's Second City does 101. So I started with 101 and 102, and then I took a little break because I had booked some stuff at the time. And then I ended up getting back, and it was just it's so interesting, by the way, when you're with a class that is the class that you're with in improv makes a huge difference, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Sure
like
does.
I loved it originally, but like when I came back into it, I was with such a dynamic and such a special supportive group of people that just kept me there. I didn't go in there with the intentions of, being an improv artist. I went in there with the intention of just kind of like loosening up and kind of just, getting out of my shell and out of my hole.
Didn't we all?
Yeah.
Didn't we all want to join this cult?
Right? And I was like, this is so much fun. And I just, like, times flew by, and I auditioned for the conservatory. I got in, who knows how, I don't know. Apparently
that's how I feel.
Gave him a $20 $20 bill. It's good to go. No.
I got in because I had already graduated from another program, so I didn't have to worry about I could just jump into the class. And so I was like, great, I didn't even have to audition.
Oh, you're so lucky. Yeah,
I had also taken like 3 other schools at this point. So like, I mean, give me a break somewhere.
Let me tell you, the audition process is so, it seemed more stressful. Like in here, like I
auditioned for Con 4 and grad review, but not for Con 1.
Yeah, I auditioned for Con 1. It was like, but anyway, so I went, it was, I got in, and it was just, such an amazing experience from then. And then I started doing some improv shows with some people I went to class with. Like I still keep in contact with everybody I went to class with, and they were putting on a couple shows, so I would do improv shows with them here and there, and it was, it just never really left me. There's still like that passion of, that improv passion.
That's great. I also love that you did this. I got in. Like, it's like in retrospect, they're going to be like, just kidding. We're going to take it back. You're no longer in the conservatory.
Right. They're going to see this video and be like, wait a second, look up this guy's stuff real quick.
You did conservatory? Well, now you didn't. So,
Yeah.
Like, can you like retroactively take someone out of the does that work? Like, I don't.
We will find out. Could you imagine if it was like a complete mistake? Like, you graduated mistakenly. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to get everything back from you.
Did you do grad review?
I didn't. So at a certain point, I got it was unfortunate because I really wish I could have, because it's a whole different ball game from that.
It's also a lot of work.
It's like 6 months of shows, which, don't get me wrong, it's experience galore, and like
it's 16 weeks, I guess, because it's 8 weeks for grad 1 and 8 weeks for grad 2, so it's like 16 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 or 4 months of just not getting paid.
That's yes. It's the internship. You get paid in brownie points, really.
You get paid in credit.
Yeah, I tried paying my rent that way. It didn't work.
Yeah, I'm still trying to pay my rent that way, and it's still not working.
Oh yeah,
Um,
but it was fun. Yeah.
yeah, it's super fun. I just was asking because I love everyone's like grad review names. They're like super fun. Like ours was Flight Club, um, which was a play on Fight Club, but we just had like a plane crashing into the In and Out. Um, I don't know.
Are we not allowed to
But
talk about any? Are we allowed not like that's probably
well,
the first rule, isn't it?
no. We pitched it as we were the in-flight entertainment, and so it actually worked really well because everything we did, like we started out with like a song of like singing about we're your in-flight entertainment, and then we did our sketches, and then we had a couple of like airplane type sketches, and then towards the end, all the sketches kind of came together, and we were on an airplane, uh, and we like would recap our like character taglines and stuff, and then somehow this past our plane like blew up, and we started doing this on stage, and then sang again. Like, thank you for joining us here on the airplane. It was interesting.
Why do I
But we had
picture
like a
you as
safety
like the
video.
perfect dark comedy improv artist?
It worked really well. I mean, it was like it was cool that we had like a theme because like we even had like a safety video that we had filmed ahead of time like prior, which is like welcome to the show. Like for your safety and safety of those around you, like keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle. There's no, like we did all of this and we were like doing like flight attendant stuff and pilot stuff and like it worked out really well. We had a couple of good houses. One I remember one lady in the audience. Just to go off topic for a second, one lady in the audience. I did my character and his name was Eugene, and it was a sketch about him like he's like, yeah, I'm like the coolest guy ever, but he was like actually like this like nerdy virgin, and so like at one point, my co-star in the scene, there was a specific way to say this line, um, and she said she was supposed to say like, "Are you sexually active?" And so I go, oh, "Come on, look at me." And then like people are like, "What?" But she said, "Are you a virgin?" This one night, and I said, "Look at me. What do you think?" And then some lady in the audience laughs and goes, "Yes." And then the rest of the audience started laughing, and so that was the punchline at the end. Was she going, "Okay, tell me for real?" And she's like, "Are you a virgin?" I'm like, yes, and like I had like this like nerdy character at the end, but like the punchline was ruined right at the beginning because the lady
Oh
in the audience shouted it
no!
out, and I was like, what do I do now?
Did you swap it around to kind of
No,
put?
we did it the whole same way. And then I had some subs that came in and gave me some like lines, and they said stuff, and I was like, that's funny. This is not PG. I like the character started out like super innocent and like G-rated, and somehow became like almost NC-17.
Oh
And
no!
I was like, what do I do? I was like, this is not me. And they're like, that's why we're making it like this, because it's like the opposite of like who I usually play. So it's just funny. Anyway, that being said, that was something that I remember that became like kind of improv to sketch, which is kind of like what Second City's thing is. But it's like a moment that I'll never forget. For you, are there any moments of improv, whether as a performer, as a student, as a teacher, as an audience member, that like you just won't forget?
Ooh, there's a lot. I'm trying to
Yeah,
find one specific one that would like really stand out above the others. And okay,
if you
so
can, I mean, it's fine.
uh,
I can never
no,
remember anything in improv.
I can't even remember what I ate this morning. What are you talking
I can't
about?
remember. Like if people bring me back for a character, I'm like, they're like say something, and I'm like, what do you want me? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I don't remember who my character was like in the Herald like two scenes prior. I'm like, what did I do? Anyway, you were onto something.
Yeah, well, I remember one time where I was, and it was for one of the shows that we did post Second City with a bunch of people that we work with. We did this thing called Hollywood Night Live, which was like a Saturday Night Live spoof, but it was
Mm-hmm.
um, majority of it was interestingly enough Ron Jeremy related, and we had the Ron Jeremy Secret Society and all these other like little mini sketches, which was just like brilliance to Lauren who kind of put this show on, and she collaborated with a lot of people, and we worked with a lot of the instructors from Second City on it as well. But it was just there was a I remember I was a tutor at the time, and one of the sketches was like it like I don't think it was even Ron Jeremy, this particular sketch, because I'm trying to figure out how that related. But it was this haunted house, and they had to do this haunted tour. And they had me as I was a Boy Scout that had died and kind of perished, and was sitting in the closet and just, one of those, hey guys. and it was, I was like, well, it was last minute that we decided to do this change. I was like, how am I last minute going to get a Boy Scout thing? Just so happened the person that I was tutoring with was a Boy Scout. And I was just like, do I ask this kid if I can borrow it?
I can't believe you would do that.
Interestingly enough, that was one of the last time I think I tutored him, but he did let me borrow it.
I would have not done that at all. I would have like sat there and like made one.
It was the like the epitome of like, how low am I stooping for this joke?
Well, don't we stoop very low in improv and comedy anyways? Like the bar, we set the bar real low.
Well, I
set the bar really high in improv. I try to make it like actually something that people want to be like amazed by.
Well, what was funny is I didn't realize they were going to show up, and I was respectfully just kind of inviting them there. And I noticed when I came out of the, like, because they opened the door and they're just sitting in the front row, and I was just like, hey. And it was just
wow.
like, and it was, it was Ron Jeremy based for most of it. So it's not like for kids. And then this one kid that's, he wasn't like a super young kid, but his dad, was there. He was like,
age-ish.
Yeah, he's like middle school, like freshman high school age. But this was like a very adult show, and I was not expecting to see him there in his clothes. I was like, oh boy. But it was a really fun show. Most of that, and you know how it is especially with improv shows, if you're given a gift, even with an embarrassing gift like that, you work with it. And it is like, I had them laughing specifically at inside kind of things that we would throw out. Like, could you imagine if I borrowed this? Wink, like, just like some inside jokes that still made other people laugh, but specifically made the person that knew what happened.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That being said, like, so on the flip side, are there, because I've had improv scenes where I literally left and I'm like, like somehow I had to like figure out how to navigate it to something else. Like sometimes people get into like topics where I'm like, I don't want to go to this topic, so I try to find a way of like, oh, look, it's a yard sale all of a sudden in the middle of this scene. Do you have any like recollection of like any of those where it's like something was either like sinking ship and you had to like steer it back around, or just something where it's like, I don't want to go here, I'm gonna just change it up and make it work, just like a magical yard sale that appears?
I'll tell you. Well, I mean, as much as anybody else, improv is a very yes and sport. So if you're a player and your friend and your co-star does not yes and the original idea, it's a sinking ship.
Sure is, 100%.
And I remember one of them. I came in and I set the scene. Because you can do like a physical motion or something that, and they play with that, say, what are you doing? Or, assume what you're doing essentially. And this particular one, I made it very simple, like, because he was fairly new. And this was like in my early ones. And this is what I was talking about, like in one of the first couple classes. And I was like, I forgot exactly the line, but I was like, I went up and they started the scene. I was like, Dad, I don't want to be grounded again, or whatever it was, essentially making him dad, me not. He was an older guy anyway, so I kind of fit with that. And he's like, I am not your dad. And I was like, well, I know you're my stepdad. And it was like one thing after another. And I was like, you're right. And I just kind of walked. I was like after like the third thing, I tried to do the rule of three, so it still made other people laugh. Like by the third thing he said no to, I was like, you're right.
That's when you go, yeah, I guess this role play isn't working. I guess I'll see you next week then, Doc.
Exactly.
Wow, what a... I'm not your dad. I'm not your stepdad. I'm actually your brother, and that's what I was trying to get you to figure out this whole time when I just stood on stage and did nothing.
But sometimes that can be...
You can't read my mind.
Listening is a very important tool, and like I've seen people do it like 100, 200 times better than I can, and I think I'm decent at it. But there are people that can spin anything, even if somebody like knows them, like as in the N-O, no, not like K-N-O-W.
Oh, yeah.
And they can spin it and it becomes so funny. And that is such a talent to have such a support. Like I feel like you've been doing this for so long. You probably have very many scenarios where you were able to take that sinking ship and get Leonardo DiCaprio just sitting on a door and like survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your teammate might not, but at least you're there.
Like 6 years now, which doesn't feel like a long time. And also, I'm like, I was like you. I literally was like, I'm just taking an improv class just to have it on a resume. And here I am, a graduate of UCB, Comedy Sports, Second City, and IOS. Who would have thought after all this time? And I'm still taking improv.
It's like, are you taking improv? Yes, and this improv school, and this, and yes,
yeah, and. Yes, and I have no other improv to take. But I'm going to segue now into another question. It's like my segue.
I love it.
I haven't done it in a while.
Seamless.
So yeah, thank you. My segue. This is what I call a Paul Blart moment. That question, yeah, no, I haven't seen the second one, but the question for you is, if you have any plugs or any pitches, anything you want to share, promote, throw out, now's the time to do that.
Well, there's a couple things that are coming out soon that I had the pleasure to work on. If you are a fan of YouTubers and stuff like that, there was I just recently worked with Drew Dirks. Oh God. Dirksen. Yes, Drew Dirksen. And man, could you imagine saying that wrong? Yeah, and it was a really fun YouTube video, and it's essentially I'm playing hide and go seek, and I am finding them in the house, but it's literally like a cop. So I am, a search warrant trying to find people, and if I find them, they run, I tackle them. It was a very, very fun video to do.
Wow.
And that just got released like a few days ago on his page and on Hulu. I can't say the name of it yet because I was told I have to wait. But there is something coming on YouTube. I guess it's not a plug if I can't say what it is, huh?
Well, no, I mean, what I was gonna say is, depending on, we'll drop it in the comments once it's been approved and or aired. We'll link it back. So check back in whenever that episode is released. So it'll keep you on your toes to come back and watch this episode many a times. Get those clicks. Just kidding. But down in the comments or down in the description, it'll say TBD show on Hulu, and then when it is out, then we'll put that show up there. So check back, y'all.
And it's coming soon, so I will let you know as soon. So
great. So thanks so much, Tim, for joining me here on the Improv Summit. I have one final question for you, which is kind of the reason the Improv Summit exists. A lot of people always come up to me, pre-pandemic specifically, but even now with improv being super accessible from anywhere in the world, no matter where you are. And that was, Spencer, you take a lot of improv. Where should I take improv? And they always do it in that voice, which is quite fascinating to me.
Interesting.
But I have a hard time answering that question because it feels like a loaded question on its own. Like there's just a lot of information. Like, what is your reasoning for doing improv? Why do you want to take improv? But if someone came up to you and asked you that question, what would be one piece of advice or one tidbit you give to them to help guide them on their improv journey?
That's interesting. So more specifically, let me ask, are you asking where, if they want to take improv, where should they take it, or why should they take improv? Like what do you mean, like, question?
Yeah, like, sure. So really anything is fair game. It's more of like, if someone wants to take improv and they're having a hard time deciding where to take improv, what would be something that you give to them to help lead them in the right direction to where, like, which improv school they should take?
Okay, so it's an interesting question because I actually have been asked this on several occasions, and my niece wanted to just
y'all, this is important information right here on the Improv Summit. Just saying.
It seriously is. No, it seriously is. Like, for real. Like, it's because when I started, that was the question that I asked. My niece is starting to, get into acting and stuff. She's young, and it's great age to, when you're going through, I should know how old she is. But she is in middle school, and nope, she is not. She is in high school. Sorry,
she doesn't
Shania.
Exist. Just kidding.
Let's edit that back. No,
Too late. Just kidding.
Oh, is this live? Crap.
Live
but
3 days later.
right. I'm gonna get a text here in a minute. But she asked me that same question, and honestly, it really depends on your reasoning for taking improv. And I really do strongly believe that. I think you can get a benefit out of no matter what school you decide to join up in. And I think taking that step just to join one, and specifically joining one like with a friend, even, somebody you kind of feel comfortable with. I joined improv originally not knowing anybody, and I met like some of my best friends from doing improv. So you don't necessarily need to, but I would, any place, and if, financially wise, just joining like a Facebook group that has an improv get together. I don't know how that works now, to be honest with you, with, you could still do improv via Zoom.
It works in a whole different way on Zoom, but it
really
works.
does. You kind of have to listen, which actually does help.
A lot of listening involved. That Zoom lag, it'll get you if you're not listening.
For real. I learned about the Zoom lag the hard way. But yeah, if you just want to go and play and get out of your shell, as I did, I think Second City, if you can pick just one class budget wise that you want to do, Second City has honestly an amazing program. They all have a very specific niche. And I think Groundlings, if you want to do more like, character work and just kind of be an animal for a day. I know it's more than that, obviously. You've been in Groundlings, so you'd know more specifically. That was one. Oh, that's the one you have not done.
That's the one. I'm too afraid of Groundlings. I'm not great with characters, and like the whole like pass fail system. I'm like, I don't have enough confidence to feel like I can pass this. So I just avoided it completely.
I did the audition. Actually, interestingly enough, I did the audition and I got in. And
that's all you need. There you go. You're a pro now.
It was honestly just to say, can I get in here? Yeah, I can get in. Perfect. I'm not going in. Honestly, it is an amazing school. I would never knock any improv school because they all have their benefits. And like Chris Farley came from Groundlings. Like the Magnificent Seven has come from Groundlings. Second City has a huge alumni as well. So honestly, it doesn't matter which one you go into. I like Second City because it's very based on short form. I have short-term memory. so when you don't have to worry about doing right, and you don't have to remember what you did an hour ago just to call it back, it does help.
I have short-term memory for someone who does a lot of long-term based work, long-term memory based.
You really do.
Anyway, Tim, this has been super fun. Thanks so much for joining me here on the Improv Summit. I did say that was the last question I had for you, but as always on this show, I am a what is it audience? That's right, a big old liar. And I have one more question for you, and that question is, we're talking a lot about improv. You want to do some improv?
I would love to.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
All right, babe, we're going to do some improv. Now, Tim, I know you like the suggestion of Jewelers, and you like the suggestion of Cockpit. So, for your entertainment and enjoyment, we are going to go with the suggestion of Cockpit.
Ooh.
Who would you like to initiate this scene?
I will initiate the scene on this one, sir.
Great. All right, thank you, Cockpit.
And we are all clear for takeoff. Yep, we are clear skies, ready to go. Captain, have you checked the sky deck?
Yeah, sure. I'm sure it's fine.
All right, sky deck says the sky deck is clear. Okay. Dials 3 through 5, are they all checked?
Yeah, probably. I didn't really go through them, but they're fine.
Okay, dials 1 through 3 are fine.
3 through 5 is what you asked for. Those should be fine.
What? We need a listener like you. 3. Okay. Bear with me just one moment. We seem to be going through a little bit of a rough patch here.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I can fix it.
I don't think we can fix. our rough patch.
We're fine. We'll be fine. There's a couple rough patches here and there. You gotta find the needle in the haystack, all that jazz.
John?
Yeah, Mike?
I noticed you've been hanging out with another pilot recently.
Yeah, that's how my shift works. I work with one pilot, I work with another pilot.
It seems like you know, they were having that party on Friday, and I noticed, the invite probably got lost in the mail.
No, I didn't invite you.
because you knew I had to work.
No, that's not it. You were definitely off that night. You were off that night. That's why I had the party that night.
No,
What do you want, a gold star?
Yes. We are back online, and we are accelerating for takeoff. A good clear skies will be happening. Thank you all so much for your patience. Flight 9123 will be taking off shortly, and we will be landing, hopefully never.
Yeah, we'll land eventually. I had a little to drink earlier. Just a little.
Did you go to the party earlier as well?
Oh yeah, it's been nonstop like all day. Like last night, this morning, I just kind of rolled up from the party just now. I got this. Don't worry, it's fine.
Are you cleared for co-piloting?
I didn't go through that way. I just kind of hopped on board.
Just hopped on board.
Yeah. It's fine. Everything's good. We're good. It's fine. I just push buttons.
You just push buttons.
Yeah. That's my job. I don't do the wheel steering at all.
Okay.
What if I go like hop on the wing of the plane?
You know what?
What?
I can handle this. I can handle the flight, but I cannot handle our friendship getting messed up.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave. If you're gonna be this angry, I'm not gonna listen.
You cannot leave. We are already in motion. You can't leave when you're in motion.
Don't make me turn this plane around.
Welcome to silence.
And scene. Thanks everybody so much for coming to the Improv Summit. As always, I'm your host Spencer. With me today, I got Tim. See you next time. Bye.